Willing participant.
Well, I nominate James for the role of secretary.
All right, second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Recording in progress.
All right, thanks, James. You're now the secretary. Approval of minutes of previous meetings. So on your drive, the previous minutes are available, and I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I make the second motion.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, minutes approved. Old business, we have 3 findings of fact here. State Road 67, 201 East Water, and 112 West Water. They're in this packet if you want to look at them, and we can just sign them after the meeting.
Yes, you
So.
can, yes. One, we can go over them, kind of skip through those. That's to
Did you have a presentation on them, or?
We don't. We
Okay.
don't have a presentation on them. We feel that it's reflective of what was presented at the meeting. The conditions that were outlined are all in there. And each of the responses to the criteria reflective of what was discussed.
I glanced at them and they looked good to me,
Okay.
so. Let's take a minute to review those.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with those 3. It's what it reflects last month's.
So we'll go ahead and just sign those after the meeting. We'll go ahead and move on to new business. So we've got V 0815 2023-01 variance from development standards. Request to exceed 55 feet maximum height of primary structure and to increase height of perimeter fence 8 feet in HI district.
Good evening. We have the first petition is for property at 8775 West County Road 700 South. This property is heavy industrial zoning district, which was just approved at the Planning Commission, gave a favorable recommendation to the town council, in which they ultimately approved the rezone in July of 2023. It's a property of 8.8 acres, which was originally rural residential. You'll see on the screen there, it's not complete process. I mean, it has been approved. However, it's got to go through the recording process and then GIS update. So eventually it will reflect the shading of heavy industrial. The parcel is currently being used for agricultural purposes. It's a farming field, and its proposed use will be a dry mix batch concrete plant, which would be operated by Starlight Leasing. And the development will include a batch mix plant, an office and maintenance building, wash bays, open aggregate storage, and then employee and truck parking. So the next slide gives a full image of what the proposed site plan will look like. We've really already looked into this very heavily, meets the requirements. They've been very responsive to UDO and the standards that are set forth, but there are a couple of standards that they are in need of asking the board here tonight, and they are variants of development standards. So those 2 standards that they're asking for a variance, the first is to increase the building height of the batch mix plant. And that building, I know that Kyle Eichhorn and Jenny Sisson, you're a part of the Plan Commission, so you're familiar with this development quite a bit. But James King, it is kind of the yellow building, which will be on the south edge of the property. There is that batch mix plant portion. And in that facility will be where the trucks will then be backed up into that facility, will be loaded with the dry mix powder, and then they will exit the grounds then from there. They will then, as they travel, then will create the concrete then as they travel in the actual truck itself. But they're asking to increase the height to approximately 71 feet from the grade, which exceeds the 55-foot primary structure height maximum that is permitted in the heavy industrial district. And the second variance that they are requesting is to be able to install an 8-foot galvanized steel perimeter fence exceeding the 6-foot fence height maximum that is permitted in all zoning districts. We do want to bring to your attention that there is some UDO considerations that are going to be up for our September Plan Commission, which would be to potentially allow 8 feet for all industrial zoning districts. That is going to be presented to Plan Commission next month, but right now we don't have that approved yet. So that still needs to be considered. So therefore, they included that in on their variance. Does anyone have any questions about just the layout itself, as far as the operations, the business, before we kind of go into a little bit onto the next slide with the height variance?
Just a quick question about the height variance. I know Jenny and Kyle are familiar with this already, but what was the reasoning behind the original 55-foot limit? What was that designed to do?
Yeah, it was designed just to be able to keep those structures not to be excessive, not to, to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye for the most part. It wasn't any type of structural concern. We do have some allowances in the UDO for mechanical equipment, but it's not real clear. A lot of that is just on the ground. You can't mechanical equipment. The height variance of what is needed with their structure and versus what would be the very top of their structure is their silo. And so they have done a phenomenal job. Brian Munch is here. He's with Munch Engineering, worked with Tim Eckert, and Plan Commission had asked them to see if they can come up with an alternate plan to lower it, because originally it was going to be about 81, 82 feet height total. And they were able to go back to the drawing board and re-engineer a good operation that was efficient for their operation, as well as keeping the truck trips in and out of the facility to a very minimum as well. But the key to this is that they, by lowering it and adding more bays, I think a third bay, is that correct? With a third silo, it will be fully enclosed. So then that way it will be more aesthetically appealing to the neighboring parcels and so forth. But by doing that and adding in that third silo, they were able to reduce it. It's all by gravity. Brian can explain that a lot better than I can. And if you want, give you an opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Brian Munch with Munch Engineering, offices at 4000 Parch Creek Road. Mr. King, to address your question, and Denise did a very good job summarizing. We originally petitioned the Plan Commission for a partially enclosed batch plant with the silos extending up through the roof, which got us up to 82 feet in height. The powder itself, since this is a dry mix plant, is gravity fed into the trucks. Then we add our aggregate into it, add water, and then as Denise mentioned, they roll down the road, mixing the mixture as they are transporting.
Portland cement and sand.
Portland cement, sand, gravel, limestone
silos.
aggregate. Yeah, so all that material. And if you look at the site plan, we do have outdoor storage for our natural materials such as sand, gravel, limestone. But we also have the capability to batch from inside, where we can bring a good portion of that material inside. It gets warmed up, it stays dry. We gravity feed it into our trucks. We had, like I said, the cement powder and or fly ash. Add water at the last step, trucks then move down the road. With reconfiguration of the silo capacities, instead of going to a round cylinder type of silo, we went more to a rectilinear type box, more of a pyramidal type box that we are putting our powder into. Still able to achieve the same quantities of materials on property, still the same type of batching, if you will, of loading into the trucks. But we're able to bring that height down from the 82 down to the 70 some.
And it's fully enclosed.
And put it fully inside. To the point where our trucks, as they are batched, is inside of a facility. Then our dry powder unloading to get, because we do have pneumatic transfer to get from the over the road tractor trailers up into the silo. That's also done in an enclosure as well. And that was a commitment and or a desire of the plan commission. So we were able to achieve that. Moving forward.
Good, thanks for that.
The function of the planning staff, is to analyze the petition against the approved and relevant plans and ordinances, as well as any existing conditions and variances placed under the site, to present facts and analysis, and based on that analysis, we'd like to offer the following comments. We believe that the increase in the building of the height and actually the height of the fence, so they are asking just a 2-foot variance on that height, will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or the general welfare of the community. We also believe that with the increase in the building height, it's going to allow all that equipment, including those silos, to be fully contained within inside that building. It will help out with reducing the risk of any noise, nuisance, and then also dust mitigation to surrounding adjacent properties there next to the property. The installation of the 8-foot fence will enhance the site security, as well as incorporated into the perimeter landscaping plans. With it being 6 feet, there's a lot of open space out there, and there could be with just the nature of the business, we feel that a 8-foot height would give them the added security that they need to keep not only their things safe, but then also to keep everyone from the outside, keep them out and well protected. And as we've discussed, all the other architectural and development standards, we anticipate that it's going to meet all of the development standards under the development review going forward. So those are the only 2 variances that they're requesting from your board this evening, and turn it over to you. If you have-
Remind me though on the material of the fence.
It's galvanized fence, and it is allowed,
that For
permitted.
industrial.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, it's permitted.
Remember
It's
that.
actually, it's all zoning districts that galvanized
okay.
is allowed. Mhm.
I
Yeah,
just
can't
knew-
have barbed wire and press board, those type of things.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't have it broken down.
Without
Yes,
looking it
others.
up on some of those,
Mhm.
I forget
Yes.
when we debated through all that, the UDO, when it
Yes,
was being written.
yes.
So,
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. It is a
Um,
permitted material.
An 8-foot makes sense for industrial. I don't have questions.
What I
From an
prefer-
engineering standpoint, I'm gonna defer the height maybe to you.
I mean,
Punt
the,
that.
the alternative is to have have it mechanical sticking out of the top of the building, which wouldn't technically maybe count to the building height. I think it's better to have it all closed.
I-
So,
I agree. And I think aesthetically,
yeah.
it looks better.
Do we have any public comment online or in person? Anybody want to speak?
Did we have any letters? I didn't know.
Oh, no, I do apologize. We've not
Okay.
received any type of comment or feedback.
Okay, just as
Positive or
long as
negative.
it's noted.
anything.
Okay.
Mhm. And all their filing requirements have been met as well.
If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the requested variances and adopting the findings of fact presented.
I make a motion to approve. It's B0815-2023-01, the variance on the extended height of the structure, as well as we have another number here for,
It's the same number.
it's the
but
same
yes.
number
Mhm.
for the 2-foot extension, up to 8 foot on the fence.
We have- Second, all right. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to new business. Second item, VO 815-2023-02, variance from development standards. to allow accessory structure garage to have a 3-foot side yard setback compared to the 5-foot required, and a 20-foot height compared to the 15-foot maximum in RC District 213 Northeast Street.
Sorry.
No, thank you very much.
Yes, so this property is at 213 Northeast Street. We have petitioners here tonight. It's Thomas and Deanne Wayner. They are here to answer any questions that you may have. We likewise have not received any comments or feedbacks from nearby property owners or anyone from the public, and all their filing requirements have been satisfied for this petition as well. This property is in the residential core conservancy. That's the outlining residential area from the downtown district. It is just right under 0.2 of an acre for this particular property, and it's located at the corner of East Street and Hallowell Drive. It has an access off Hallowell, as well as you could have access to the alley behind the home as well. There is in your Google Drive, there's an image of the home if you want to take a look at that. Kind of shows what the block looks like, and the subject property is the 1-story home that is in that image. But the other homes around that, you'll see, what their heights of their attached and detached garage and structures look like. This particular parcel is a 1-story single-family residence with a 2-car attached garage, and at the highest peak of this particular property is at 16 feet in height. There is a water service line that connects to the water main at the alley on the south side of the property. So it's near to where that cement slab you'll see there right on the south of the attached 2-car garage there off of Hallowell Drive. Going to the next screen here, kind of outlines a little bit of more of the property and what the proposed layout is for the addition. The addition would be a detached 26 by 26 garage there on the south end of the property. Also included in with their intentions, they'd like to have an apron off of the alleyway, which is permitted for them. It's about an 8-foot setback, which is more than what is required at 5 feet setback. And they also, on the east side of that 26 by 26 garage, is a covered porch patio. It's about 14 feet wide at the most south end of that covered porch, and then it narrows into about 8 feet when it gets closer to the home.
Kind of L-shaped.
Yes, correct. There is probably, from what my best estimate, there will probably be maybe about 4 feet, maybe between the 2 structures. So from the south end of the garage to the new proposed garage, there will be about a 4 to 5 foot difference there. Does that sound right? Okay. I also want to point out too, before we talk about the variances there, you'll see on the image there on the screen that there is the property line that is in red, and that is per the GIS. And you're going to see that there is a white privacy fence that appears to encroach the neighbor's property. So GIS is not survey accurate, and they have worked with the survey company. I've been out to the property today. I've taken pictures. It's already been staked, and the only piece from what I see is on the west side of the property. It looks like where the stake is, it might be the fence post might be about 2 inches over, but it kind of angles, but then it's well within the property as it gets to the east side of the property. That sound right from, so they would just need to keep this in mind as they construct the building for whatever setback is approved tonight. So the 2 variances from development standards that they're seeking, the first one is that they're asking for a 3-foot setback on the side yard, which would be on the south property line, to be able to accommodate a 26 by 26 garage. And then with that, what is permitted within their zoning district is a 5 foot. So that variance they're asking is 2 feet off of that to be able to accommodate that accessory structure. The second variance that they're asking is that they're asking for the garage with the height up to 20 feet. At this point, they've not determined, at least the last that we've spoken, they're not determined on how high they're going to go up, but they would not exceed 20 feet. So that would put it up at a 4 feet variance between the highest peak of their primary structure and the accessory structure should it get constructed to 20 feet up in height. So then that would be a variance of 5 feet because there is in their zoning district a 15-foot maximum height allowance there. As far
Do
as
we know the
Yep.
height of those others, the Cape Cod?
yes, so the Cape Cods, they're anywhere between 20 and
That's why I was
25
thinking
feet.
they're a lot higher.
Mhm.
Okay.
There is also on the north property, just across on Hollowell, there is a detached garage, and that's about 20 feet in height as well.
Okay.
And then the second property to the north, there is a Cape Cod home with a detached garage in the back, kind of a Cape Cod style garage, and that one's at 25 feet. And you'll see there in your, and I don't know if you want to show that, if you want to go out or if you want to look at your Google Drive, but it shows what the block is. So for a primary structure in the RC zoning district, the test is kind of the average of the properties within that same block. It's a little bit different on accessory structure. It's just capped at 15. However, there are multiple 2-story structures on the block and on surrounding blocks that are 20 or even greater than 20 feet in height. The proposed structure also, as part of kind of our analysis that we would, comments that we'd like to lend, is that the proposed accessory structure will be located in the rear of the property, and it will not exceed or bump out past that west wall of that attached garage. So it would give some limit to that visibility of that structure, even if it was a little bit higher than the actual primary structure of the home there. The accessory structure dimensions, like I said earlier, cannot encroach upon the south property joiner, and they would have to make sure that at construction, they would have to maintain the setback as approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. The petitioner has indicated that the survey is coming. I don't know if she said she was going to bring it tonight. Just to confirm the fact, we wanted to make sure that before an improvement location permit was permitted, we wanted to have that on file to make sure that there was not an encroachment on that south property. So, I said again, I've seen the stakes, and I think that they can construct within those limits.
Yeah, those
Are
are
accurate.
always up. I mean, I know
Yes.
they're off on mine. because
Mhm.
They've been done right.
Yes, yes, which is kind of alarming when the petitioner, when we get that, and, but they can be off, 5 feet here or there, so. The adjacent property to the south will be screened by the neighbor's existing privacy fence. I don't know the intentions on whether or not the white privacy fence will stay up or not after construction, but that it'll be well screened, from the neighbor's own privacy fence.
Can you
One-
remind me the neighbors behind them? I know that house faces East Street, correct? The house
Um,
behind,
The one behind them?
To the
yes,
south.
yes, to the south of them.
Oh,
that
yes, it faces East
faces
Street. Yes,
east.
and it's
it-
actually about 25 in height as well.
Okay,
Mhm.
I was
It's-
trying to remember. I should have
Yeah.
done a loop around. like
Yeah.
we normally
Yeah, it's kind of a brown, I say log cabin looking, but it's kind of got a Cape Cod style dormers
seen it
out
a
the
lot
front
where-
as well.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
Did any neighbors around send letters or? Okay.
We've not
Oh,
gotten
you
any
mentioned
feedback.
that,
Yep,
didn't you?
yep.
Okay.
That's- yeah.
Quick
Yeah, we've
question.
not- Yes.
That red line, you said that's off the GIS plot.
Yes, yes, it
And
is.
the the survey, the informal or unofficial survey as new locations for the property line.
Yes,
So is the variance from what shows on GIS or is it on?
it's from what is actual. Yes, it'll be from actual.
Sound like.
They understood that where it lied before, it just when we came up and it was brought up in discussion, they were able to confirm it with.
But
yes.
what's being reported here is what's being verified.
Yes,
there.
yes, absolutely right. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. One thing, and we've discussed this with our building code inspector, we're not going to require a relocation of that water service line, but it goes probably just west of that cement slab that is just south of the attached garage. It's just that we want it duly noted that if there were any leaks or anything and they were to construct over that, might be a viable option to reroute that water line from the meter to the home. It would be the responsibility of the owner if there was to have a leak, and they would have to have, it corrected at that time. But that is just a suggestion at this point, so. And all other architectural and development standards we anticipate to be met with the material and their construction contractor that they're going to be working with. Okay, I don't know if you have any
Any other questions? for staff
questions or.
petitioner? Straightforward.
It is straightforward and it kind of meets a formula too on that average in that neighborhood,
Well,
which is why we put some of those restrictions in place.
Do we have anybody online or in person that would like to speak? I guess after reviewing the staff analysis, I think that provides a good findings of fact to meet the requirements. Things like the height conforms with the surrounding properties.
I think it's well thought out. All the boxes are checked. So
Anything else?
Nope. Nothing further.
I guess if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 0815-2023-02 as presented.
I make a motion to approve the, what was that, 20,
0815-2022.
there we go, as approved.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, your motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks.
All we have.
All right. Do I need the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right.